Dresden's in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Welcome everybody. Sorry I missed the last stream. I've been stricken with leprosy of the poison ivy kind. Welcome to the stream. My name's Stuart Davis. I am your itching host of this this stream, this stricken plague-ridden being here, but this is a spot I've created for us folks in the faith gather, get together, and have an enjoyable time talking about the word, talking about faith related issues, offering our opinions and perspectives on things. And I say we because it's not just me, it's you. You're invited to be a part of this. You think of this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or Sunday school, right? We're all gathering together virtually. And I get to be the face here, but you are welcome. You are welcome to participate and offer those opinions and perspectives. And we're not necessarily worried about your denomination. This is not a evangelical specific place. You can be Catholic, you can be Orthodox, you can be Lutheran, Baptist, Presbyterian, Anglican, and be a part of this. Offer what your denomination teaches, whatever doctrine you're in, right? As we go through this project that we've been going through in the last few years, which is reading through the Bible, a couple of chapters a night, and going through it in order from Genesis to Revelation. And I'm going to read it. I'm going to give you my opinion, and you're welcome to do yours. This is a small stream, right? Get a small stream, get a half dozen to a dozen views a night, and and the chat's full of great folks who tune in and night out. But we'd love to add you if you're not a frequent flyer here. So if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. But more importantly, love to hear from you, right? So if you don't want to be in a chat, you can leave a comment, do whatever. But we're just happy you're here, right? All right, we're going to get into get into the show. We're going to be starting Habakkuk tonight. And so Saturday, or look, let me back up a bit. Me and Poison Ivy, we don't coexist well together. I certainly did not start this feud between me and the plant. It started it, and it certainly wins when it gets me. And so the problem that I have is where I get it, it's never just a bump. It boils. It looks nasty. I'm not going to get into the disgusting details. You guys don't need to know. I do have a bit of it right here. So no, that's not a cold sore. That's not what it could be. But that's actually a mild appearance of what I have all down my leg right now on one side and a little bit on the other leg. So I have spent the last few nights. Saturday, I was out extending the goat fence. That's when it happened. I went out there with shorts on because I'm an idiot who had grown complacent. It'd been since 2020, I think, the last time I had it, and I got it then behind my ear, and thankfully that didn't happen because that really looks bad. So in order to keep things clean, yeah, clearly, in order to keep things clean, I've just been sitting on a towel on the couch watching TV with the kiddos on the evenings, and was not in a good spot to do that on Monday. Sitting on a towel now, but it's starting to the bad parts were on the back end of it, and then when it starts to heal up, then it'll be just an annoyance because it's ugly and it looks like I have a venereal disease on the wrong part of my body. But But yeah, that's so if you want to know how my weekend's been, that's where that's what it's been happening. I felt it under my leg during church Sunday. I felt the bumps and I'm like, daggone it. I knew it was itchy. It was itchy, so I was worried. And then I felt the bumps, and then they came up. That it didn't take long after that. A couple of hours later, I was going out and buying anti poison ivy stuff. So there you go. We're getting into soccer season. My son will be playing soccer again this year. He made his middle school team. School's starting up soon. He's going to practices. I get to be the proud papa, watching him and coaching him on not taking things too seriously, but also being now that he is a seventh grader, being the type of kid that can be counted on, right? And to keep his composure. So it's a good time. Always a good time to be alive. Always a good time to be alive. Lord has blessed me incredibly. Competitive, but not too much, right? Not too much that you throw a fit when you lose, right? It's probably gonna be, it might be a difficult season for them. They're gonna be a younger team. They are only, I think, two of them really started last year. And so the whole field's going to be relatively young, right? And so there's going to be a learning curve there, but I think that's going to be good for them. They're certainly talented, and it's good. They're a good team. They're good. They're a good group of kids, and I'm glad that my son's a part of that. So, how are you guys doing? Hopefully, well. Hopefully, y'all had an enjoyable weekend. Hopefully, y'all didn't get poison ivy like I did. I'm hoping instead y'all got better things, right? But it's so good to see Dresden here. Got slapped by Uma Thurman. Hadn't seen you in a while, buddy. Our friend from across the pond, right? In the land of no air conditioning. And glad to see you stop in. I know that this is late for you. I know that you don't get often. It's not often you're able to be in the chat, but always good to see you comment in. So happy to have you. Matt Felty as well. Composure is good. Composure is good. Yes, right. You go through Proverbs and Psalms, or Psalms and Proverbs, and all the lessons. Yogurt on Windows. What the is that? Am I missing something on this? Yogurt on Windows. What is going on here? Is this fill me in on that meme? Anyway. All right, so we finished up as we're waiting on Dresden to explain the meme to my boomer self. We finished up Nahum, right? So we got the second half of the side of what happened to Nineveh, right? So we closed that storyline down there, and we saw basically that we as mankind have no have no shortage of opportunities that we take to disappoint God. And a lot of times we get our act together, and we can delay, we can stay the Lord's hand, and he will show us mercy, and then we will take that mercy and the gift that he has given us and cherish it for a time. But as a culture, as a people, once we get to be too comfortable, once we get further away from the danger that we perceive, we go back to our old ways. This explains just so much, and I'm so glad that my relatives got on a ship in the 1600s to get out of there, so I could be a fully settled, well-adjusted American male. with air conditioning, which is running right now, an air conditioning unit specifically for this room, made by the Japanese, by the way. It's a Mitsubishi. I like to show off. That's a Mitsubishi. That's when they started making the mini splits, right? That help. But does it send help or just send a window unit for you? Something. Um, but whether it's England and their yogurt windows or us Americans and our no end of degenerate behavior, we uh we are folks who live a comfortable life. And that's when we do things like um legalize abortion all the way up to birth, like they did in Massachusetts. And it's sad to see this. It's beyond sad. The word sad's just a placeholder, right? Because it's tragic. And what the implications on the loss of life that is going to follow that is terrible, right? And we can only pray for everybody involved for mercy and wisdom and for the understanding and cherishing of life, even though um, the ending of it is met with claps and cheers. And that vote is coming up in Virginia this November. And just considering how the state normally votes these days, we're probably not going to be any different. That's a shame, right? We are in a covenant with God, a new covenant that Jesus established with us. He got on the cross knowing that this stuff was going to happen, knowing how weird and stupid we could be and would be going forward. And there would be folks who are vulnerable, put into hard situations with a society that will tell them what they think they need to hear. And they will tell them that the easy way out is the best way. And that folks that are trying to hold them firm to responsibility, accountability, and aside from that, love for your fellow man, love for life, and an appreciation for it is more important than some dream you had of the future or some path of education that you need and that you can. Good night, Dresden. See you, sir. Some education that you think you can't get if you have a kid, right? Or that, what's going on, Jenny? Or that some affliction of that child is too much for you to bear, or too much of an inconvenience, or a stigma. And you don't know what to do, right? The biggest problem is that we've normalized this. We've normalized it. We've effectively dehumanized the unborn. And some of us realize it. Some of us have known for a long time. Some of us didn't until maybe after a mistake, right? Some of us don't appreciate it until we become parents ourselves. The hope is that we come to that realization sooner than later. But that's what we see with Jonah, right? With Nineveh, with Jonah. Hey guys, y'all should know what you're doing is wicked. You need to repent, right? The message that we're going to hear, that we've been hearing from all these prophets warning the Israelites. Your society should not be running in a manner that is rewarding the thief and the ultra powerful, right, who defraud their fellow man. This should not be running in a way that steps on the vulnerable, your orphans and widows. They should feel secure in their place. This should be a place where folks trust each other, and it's not. And y'all need to change that, you wicked people. Y'all need to put God first. Put his commandments up there. They need to be a priority to you. And how you treat each other is a reflection of how much you believe in the things that he tells you. And not just that you're obeying it, but the fact that you understand and you agree that it is a good thing to obey. Faith, once again. Right? Faith, once again. I saw a somebody trying to be very clever, and they got they thought they were being very clever by saying that it was a faith is works, without works, whatever. And they were talking about the parable of, or the moment where Jesus is approached by the prince or the wealthy man, or however you interpret that man to be, right? And they make it about the works. Well, he didn't say just have faith, right? And look, I'm not going to get into the faith versus works thing. I have my opinion on it. I've expressed that here. But if you're making the argument, that's a singularly bad one to use it. Because what the prince or the rich God man says to Jesus is, these are all the things that I do. These are all my works. How do I make sure these works get me into heaven? Right? And Jesus says, give all your stuff away and follow me. And that is very much saying, have faith in me that you can follow me even with nothing. It's not the best argument. I was like, wait, man, you gotta contemplate on this a little bit. Now you could argue that faith, that his act of faith and leaving everything behind is a work. But then you get down to the idea that most people who are most of us sola fide, is that when you have faith, you're doing things, but you don't think about them. You don't catalog them. You don't look back on them. You just know that they're happening. So everybody's got to try to be clever on the internet, myself included. I'm not immune from that, and I am not casting a stone that or I'm not pointing fingers that I can't point at myself as well. But tonight's Habakkuk. We're starting with Habakkuk. Let's do a quick intro. Project. No. Where's my got questions? Here we go. The prophet Habakkuk decries the sins of Judah, but grapples with the fact that God's chosen people will suffer at the hands of enemies even more wicked than they. God answers Habakkuk's questions, resulting in continuing faith in God's wisdom. sovereignty, and salvation. There we go. So this sounds like it could be more of a conversation, but we'll see, right? Um, I don't remember. I've read Habakkuk. I don't remember much of it. So let's get let's remind me how this goes. And if you don't remember or if you haven't read it, let's familiarize you with it. All right, we're going to start with Habakkuk chapter 1. The Chaldeans used to punish Judah. The oracle, a burdensome message, a pronouncement from God, which Habakkuk the prophet saw. O Lord, how long will I call for help, and you will not hear? I cry out to you, violence, yet you do not save. Why do you make me see iniquity and cause me to look on wickedness? For destruction and violence are before me. Strife continues and contention arises. Therefore, the law is ineffective and ignored, and justice is never upheld. For the wicked surround the righteous, therefore justice becomes perverted. The Lord replied, look among the nations. See, be astonished, wonder, for I am doing something in your days. You would not believe it if you were told. For behold, I am raising up the Chaldeans who ruled in Babylon, that fierce and impetuous nation who marched throughout the earth to take possession of dwelling places that do not belong to them. The Chaldeans are dreaded and feared. Their justice and authority originate with themselves and are defined only by their decree. Their horses are swifter than leopards and keener than hungry wolves in the evening. Their horsemen come galloping. Their horsemen come from far away. They fly like an eagle swooping down to devour. They all come for violence. Their horde of faces moves eagerly forward. They gather prisoners like sand. They make fun of kings, and rulers are a laughing matter to them. They ridicule every stronghold and heap up rubble for earth mounds and capture it. Then they will sweep by like the wind and pass on, but they will be held guilty. They and all men who own power and strength is their God. Now Habakkuk, where they line is he's very close to Jeremiah. He's right in that time with Jeremiah and Ezekiel. So you can see the fall is getting ready to come. Veritex, welcome to the show. I didn't see you there. Hello, Stu. Just got back from revival and I'm exhausted. Sleep deficit for 6 weeks. Didn't make it yesterday because body just couldn't move. Well, I wasn't streaming yesterday, so you mean Monday? I wasn't here Monday. I'm not tired. I just have poison ivy. All right. So going through this section of Habakkuk, Habakkuk's calling out for justice, right? He's seeing the state of Judah and wondering why isn't anything being done about it. He's like, and this is the thing, there are still righteous people. Oh, okay. There are still righteous people in Judah, right? People like him, people like Jeremiah. There's just not many of them. And but these folks, they look around and they say, what are we doing here? It's nothing but crime and wicked behavior, right? And the reason it's all crime and wicked behavior, because even the people in charge are wicked. And because they're wicked, justice becomes perverted. Because all it means is, who can you bribe? Who do you know? Who wants to look the other way? And so we have a society that doesn't trust in each other. We have a society where everybody is trying to get something for themselves, and only something for themselves. There's no camaraderie. There are no brothers and sisters in the faith, just marks. Just marks, threats. and money, right? Money and power and probably all sorts of other things. They aren't worshiping God. They've become like the Israelites, just going through the motions. They got other gods that are more important to them, they think. And Habakkuk is lamenting this, right? Why is this happening? Why are you letting this happen, God? And the God said, "Look, I know things look bad, but I want you to pay attention and look around because I'm getting ready to do something. I'm getting ready to do a thing, right?" He says, "Yeah, I'm about to do something in your days, and you wouldn't have believed it if I told you. I'm bringing this horde of heathens, these Babylonian heathens, and I'm going to bring them to the very gates of Jerusalem, and they're going to." And these people, as you know, their reputation precedes them. They're warlock, or they're warlocks. They're warlike. They're warlike. Um, they're they pillage, they burn, they kill. Everybody's afraid of them, and they answer to no one but themselves. So they think. They all come for violence. They gather prisoners like sand. They make fun of kings. And they and all men whose own power and strength is there. Oh, say, but they will be held guilty. They and all men whose own power and strength is their God. So, but that's the instrument of Jerusalem's destruction. Because hey, look, if you want to be a godless nation, or if you want to be a nation that answers to false deities, fine. I'll turn my back about, and you can hang out with the other cultures, the other societies, the other nations that look for favor among false deities. See how you fare. And we all know, not well. Are you not from everlasting, O Lord, my God, my Holy One? We will not die. O Lord, you have appointed the Chaldeans who rule in Babylon to execute your judgment, and you, O Rock, have established them to correct and chastise. Your eyes are too pure to approve evil, and you cannot look favorably on wickedness. Why then do you look favorably on those who act treacherously? Why are you silent when the wicked Chaldean oppressors destroy those more righteous than they? Why do you make men like the fish of the sea, like reptiles and creeping things that have no ruler and are helpless against their enemies? The Chaldeans bring all of them up with a hook and drag them away with a net and gather them together in their fishing nets, so they rejoice and are glad. Therefore, they offer sacrifices to their net and burn incense to their fishing net, because through these things their catch is large, and they live luxuriously, and their food is plentiful. Will they continue to empty their net and mercilessly go on destroying nations without sparing? And so Habakkuk is like, the Babylonians, you're going to pick them? Because they're awful. And they're not us, right? Why would you get a worse people to come and punish us? Because he goes, even more heathenistic than the way that the Judeans, the Israelites, the Hebrews, whatever you want to call them, however much they are acting. Which is kind of funny considering how we just described Jerusalem just a few verses ago. And he's wondering, well, how are you? And then goes, and then why are you going to give them victory? Right? These are not good people. These are godless people. How do you let this stuff go on? This is a very real moment with Habakkuk, because he's having a moment like we all have, where it's like, why does this stuff exist? Why do people like this exist? Why does God allow people to feel this way and act this way? not just for themselves, but for the people that they hurt. And they don't realize that it's all hurtful. All the sin is. And Jerusalem and Judah isn't any really different at this point. And, they wanted this lifestyle. So they're going to get all the consequences that come along. They're not going to have their cake and eat it too. They want to pretend God's not there. Guess what? Now you get to play that for real. So the footnotes here, urgent message. They talk about the very beginning about the message. It's urgent. There's a compulsion to proclaim this. The Chaldeans were the dominant people in Babylonia, originally from a small part of southern Babylonia near the head of the Persian Gulf. They were an aggressive tribe and completely controlled the country after 625 BC. Babylon was their capital city and became the scholarly and scientific center of Western Asia. The words Chaldean and Babylonian are used interchangeably. I was hoping for better news than that, Veritax. I'm sorry that is continuing to wear on you. And I hope that better prospects lie for you. Babylon was the name of the magnificent capital city of Babylonia, and the name of the city was commonly used to refer to the entire area, which was located at the eastern end of the Fertile Crescent. Both the plain of Shinar and Chaldea, the land of the Chaldeans, were part of an ancient Babylonia. I'm sorry. So that's our first chapter, right? Iniquity in Jerusalem, and iniquity in all the land. And he goes, "Where are we? God, what are you going to do about this? Why are you allowing this to happen?" God goes, "Don't worry about it. I got a horde of barbarians who are going to come in and just rip this place to shreds." And it's like, well, what do you mean? That doesn't make things better. Got to get worse. Yeah, look, you got to get worse before it gets any better. God answers the prophet, chapter 2. I will stand at my guard post and station myself on the tower, and I will keep watch to see what he will say to me, and what answer I will give as his spokesman when I am reproved. Then the Lord answered me and said, "Write the vision and engrave it plainly on clay tablets, so that the one who reads it will run. For the vision is yet for the appointed future time. It hurries towards the goal of fulfillment. It will not fail. Even though it delays, wait patiently for it, because it will certainly come. It will not delay. Look at the proud one. His soul is not right within him, but the righteous will live by his faith in the true God. Moreover, wine is treacherous and betrays the arrogant man, so that he does not stay at home. His appetite is large like Sheol, and he is like death, never satisfied. He gathers to himself all nations and collects to himself all peoples as if he owned them. Will all these victims of his greed not take up a taunting song against him and in mocking derision against him? Say, woe, judgment is coming to him who increases that which is not his. How long will he possess it? And woe to him who makes himself wealthy with loans. Will your creditors not rise up suddenly, and those who collect from you awaken? Then you will become plunder for them. Because you, king of Babylon, have looted many nations, all peoples who are left will loot you. Because of human bloodshed and for the violence done to the land, to the city, and all of its inhabitants. Pause there for a second. So God said, Habakkuk is waiting for an answer. God's answer back is, listen up, right? It's not, this is coming. Your punishment is coming. So is Babylon's punishment is coming. And though we've seen it delayed in places like Nineveh, when Josiah was king and was able to delay things, there are times where, hey, change of behaviors can delay things, right? So God says it's still coming because you guys just acted. And he knows, right? He already knows because of his being all knowing. But it's, just to explain it, this should be something that you understand because your own people have been this way for generations, in and out, in and out, good, then bad, then good, then bad. And good, God stays his hand. And now through this bad time, God's had enough. And what he says about the Babylonians can also be kind of attributed a little bit to the Hebrews, right? Because they're warlike and vicious and everything. The Hebrews have certainly acted that way to each other. And I like this part because he's talking about Babylon, the creditors not rise up suddenly and collect from you, awaken, then you will become a plunder for them. Woe to him who makes himself wealthy with loans. Babylon's going to steal, they're going to plunder, they're going to kill. They're going to rack up a lot of resentment from the people that they are running through, right? And they're not doing anything to make the land better. They're just pillaging it. So you're going to see a lot of animosity. And eventually, there's going to be a breaking point and Babylon's going to fall, which is exactly kind of what was going on with the Hebrews in Jerusalem or in Judah and Israel, right? All these loans, all these sins that were piling up that they weren't even remotely sorry for, that eventually was going to have to come due. Because Israel and Judah were not sacrificing. They were not showing remorse. They were not giving proper sin offerings. We heard God say it before with the other prophets. They're like ashes. These offerings, these sin offerings, these pleading for forgiveness when it's just going through the motions, they mean nothing. You would rather you just not say anything. Because who do you think God's stupid? Do you think he doesn't know how you feel? Do you think he can't figure out that you're not taking this seriously? Very dumb. Not very smart. Not very good behavior. So he warns them, right? Woe, judgment is coming to him who obtains wicked gain for his house and thinks that by doing so, to set his nest on high, that he may be rescued from the hand of evil. You have devised the shameful thing for your house by cutting off and putting an end to many peoples. So you are sinning against your own life and forfeiting it. For the stone will cry out from the wall to accuse you, built in sin, and the rafter will answer it out of the woodwork. Woe! Judgment is coming to him who builds a city with bloodshed and establishes a town by violence. Is it not indeed from the Lord of hosts that peoples labor only for the fire that will destroy their work, and nations grow weary for nothing, that is, things which have no lasting value? But the time is coming when the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Woe! Judgment is coming to you who make your neighbors drink, who mix in your venom and make them drunk, so that you may look at their nakedness. You will be filled with disgrace instead of honor. Now drink and expose your own nakedness. The cup of wrath in the Lord's right hand will come around to you, O destroyer, and utter disgrace will be on your glory. For the violence done to Lebanon will overwhelm you. The destruction of the animals will terrify you on account of human bloodshed and the violence done to the land, the city, and all its inhabitants. And again, so when we finish this section, you're kind of wondering, is he talking to Babylon or is he talking to the Israelites? Is he talking to the Judeans? Because again, we're talking about Babylon being a godless nation that does all these things, but that's because they rule themselves, right? And they're okay with their sin. They don't think it's bad. That doesn't mean that it isn't sinful. That doesn't mean that there aren't consequences for those actions, and that they won't ultimately answer for them when maybe they're not the most powerful. when they slip up and make a mistake, and other nations that are pissed off and angry with them and resentful for them take their opportunity to stick a knife in their back. But again, isn't this the same thing that Judah is doing to itself, that Israel was doing to itself before it fell? Yeah. But again, I say, God, a nation that acts like it's a heathen nation, God's treating like a heathen nation. And so this is how it works when you're out among the regular peoples. This is when you're not blessed, uniquely blessed by me. This is when all the jealousy that has been directed towards y'all's blessing is going to be turned to violence. And whether you are a conquering nation that is a conquering nation that is cruel to the people it conquers, that you rape and pillage, when you tempt and bring down other people, that's just as bad as when you're doing it to your own people. Maybe worse. What profit is the carved image when its maker has formed it? It is only a cast image and the teacher of lies, for its maker trusts in his own creation as his God when he makes speechless idols. Woe, judgment is coming to him who says to the wooden image, awake, and to the speechless one, arise. And that is your teacher? Look, it is overlaid with gold and silver, and there's no breath at all inside it. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth hush and be silent before him. Footnotes here. The taunting song of the five woes pronounced against Babylon begins in verse 6 and concludes at the end of the chapter. The different woes. And we see that last one where he's like, again, the false gods, which, again, Israel and Judah, very much guilty of. Y'all think that y'all make this God. You're like, hey, this thing is all powerful. You created that. And you have put it above yourself. Look, it's overlaid with gold. It's got gold and silver on it. Who put that there? Who carved it? Right? It's not alive. This is not a living God. The living God is pissed that you've decided that makes sense to you. And we need to understand that better. And we need to appreciate that there is a living God more. But again, until the culture improves, until our faith is able to convince others, until others are led by the Holy Spirit, and God delivers somehow us, it's not good, guys. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. All right, that's our reading for tonight. First and second Habakkuk. How much do we have of this? Oh, just one more. Friday. This is going to become a theme. 2 chapters on Wednesday. Can't do the Monday show. Do 2 chapters on Wednesday. Do the final chapter on Friday. So we'll wrap up Habakkuk on Friday. Hopefully I'm in a better spot with my poison ivy. But it's good to get back with you guys. Sorry I couldn't start things up on Monday. I'm not able to go to the gym like this either. It's disgusting. And I wouldn't. One, I hate how it looks. But two, you don't want that. Even more importantly, you don't want to get that over the equipment. You don't do that to your fellow people. I wouldn't even want to do that to anybody. It's okay, guys. I'm not that itchy. It's just, it's like sunburn. That's how it feels, right? It's tender, right? But it's the other stuff that goes on It's the other symptoms, the other side effects of being poisoned by ivy. But look, Matt Felty, Jenny, ELJ, Veritax, and Dresden, who's gone. Went night night. We'll miss you, Dresden. Until the next time you're able to stay up and comment. Glad to see you here, though. And to the rest of you guys, how's it going? Look, Veritax, hoping jobs come your way. Hope that you find yourself in a embarrassment of riches of job offers. Matt Felty and Jenny, great to see you guys. Look, I'm happy you guys show up and share this time with me. I love you guys. Y'all help make this show better. And I'm not saying I couldn't do it with you guys, but I don't want to do it without you guys. I want you guys here. Y'all, this is the type of community that makes you think that, heaven's going to be a good time for us all just getting together and having fellowship, right? Doing things the way God is made right for us and true. So y'all keep fighting the good fight, right? Just try staying on the straight and narrow. That goes for everybody, not just the chat, but also those who are not in the chat, who are listening, not participating. Hey guys, y'all, you're invited. I want to hear from you, but I understand, might not want to, might not be able to. So just know the invitation's out there, and it's not done cursory or just say, hey, if you say something great, if not, whatever. No, I do genuinely want to hear from you guys. But I'm glad either way that you're here and you're getting something out of it. So don't feel pressure. And to everybody, also to you guys on replay crew, y'all be good as well. Y'all fight the good fight, right? But thank you for watching, and I'm sorry I missed you. I hope to catch you live sometime soon. You all have a good Monday. Everybody have a good night, and God bless.